Hello, I'm Oscar, and you're listening to my radio show. That wasn't the same intro to the radio show that you normally get. So, surprise! They're full of surprises, this show. Didn't expect that. Started with the same little but then a different intro. So, blam. This time, I have come up with a business idea. So feel free to take this to Dragon's Den if you're going to follow through with it. I have no interest in following through with it, which is a great pitch for any business idea, I suppose. The idea for the business, there's a gap in the market here, okay, because you've got like Samaritans and stuff who is like that phone line. I don't know, did he make money? I don't know if they're like a charity, if you can, I don't know, I'm not too sure how it works. But there's like people you can phone when you want to kill yourself, and they'll convince you to not kill yourself. There isn't anything which will help you kill yourself, but you don't have the balls. So if I had a business, it's like a suicide business, right? You got a guy or a girl, but mainly men, because the suicide rates in men are higher from the studies that I've seen. Mr. Smith, we'll say, goes to this business, right? He's depressed, he wants to kill himself, but he doesn't have the balls, or maybe he does have the balls, but he doesn't want to, be remembered as a guy who killed himself. He wants it to look natural or something like that. This business would tailor to his needs or his wants. So he goes in and he's like, look, I'm mega depressed, I want to kill myself. However, I don't want to actually kill myself, I just want to die. Can you, fix me a way? And, he signs his contract, and the clause in the contract, I don't know if I'm using the word clause correctly there, but whatever. One of the terms of his contract is, he's gone in depressed, which is a bit crap. You don't want to die depressed, do you? That's a bit shit, really. They will essentially, you're taking out a hit on yourself, okay? You're like hitmen, and we follow our clients around and kill them when they're having fun, or when they get to the point in their life where they don't want to die anymore, and they'll die happy. The only downside of it is, like, he's like, oh yes, I've just won all of the lottery things and the money and stuff, and now I'm a successful businessman. I've succeeded in one of my goals. I don't know, have a kid now, and I'm very happy, and I don't want to die anymore. And then blam, right in the back of the head, he gets assassinated. Maybe, I don't know, I've not really thought much more about that suicide business. But if you want to take it to Dragon's Den, and please feel free. I reckon it's a pretty shit business idea, to be honest. But I don't doubt that you would get clients in America. We've got all sorts of stuff over there. Alright, let's see if we've got time for a 1 minute story. Okay, here's a story from when I was in school, in high school. I can't cook, I still can't cook to this day very well, which isn't ideal. I normally eat takeaway food or cereal, or maybe like fried eggs or something like that, because I'm not very good at cooking. And I was put off cooking. I'd say I was never really very interested in cooking, but in school you do home economics, and you start, like, teacher tries to teach you how to cook a little bit. And we were making soup one time. I think it was maybe the second thing we ever had to make. Can't really remember what the first thing was, but I remember the soup. I was on holiday outside of school holidays, because it was cheaper to go, off peak. So we went off peak, and when I got back from holidays, basically the first week back, all the kids in the class had written out the recipe for the soup they wanted to do. So if you wanted like carrot and coriander, you're like, the recipe, the ingredients I will need for carrot and coriander soup is carrot and corianders. Carrots and coriander. Coriander is already plural. Corianders. Leek and potato, probably much the same, only instead of carrot and coriander, use leek and potatoes. But when I got there, I'd come back on the second week, So everybody started to cook, or was just about to start to cook, and the teacher wanted me to write this ingredients list of things, and I was like, well, what's left? And she was like, well, there's not any vegetables left. I've not brought any spare or anything like that, so you're gonna have to like just write out something and we'll figure it out. So I was like, okay, I've got an idea. So I wrote out what we did have. It was literally the leftovers of, like, you know, carrot heads from people's carrot and coriander, the stems of vegetables that people would have normally thrown out, the potato peels, and all that kind of, you know, the disposable parts of the vegetables that you would normally not want to keep in your soup because of, you know, the taste. So I would keep these things, and that was all I would use. And I called it leftover soup. And I thought it was quite a smart idea. However, the teacher, you know, she let me do it. It came to choosing if you wanted to have it blended or smooth. And, you know, I thought it, like, maybe like leek and potato, you can get away with having bits of potato in it, like squares, cubes of potato. I've seen that before, that's quite normal. Things like minestrone, I guess, has like pasta, and it's not really, you don't blend that kind of stuff. But for leftover soup, I thought it would be pretty unappetizing if there was like carrot heads, or, you know, the sort of bits of tomato that have the funny stem stalk bit. If they were floating around, it would be quite unedible. So, you know, I was like, at least make this somewhat appetizing by blending it. So I decided to blend it. Never used a blender before in my life. It's a liquidizer, I think it was called. Not a blender. Yeah, it's not a blender, it's a liquidizer. So it's like just the hand thing that you put in this soup, and then you just turn it on. It's just got blades that go round. And the teacher was mega like worried that kids were going to cut themselves on this thing, or some accident was going to happen. So she went over it, and she was like, went over all these safety instructions, and they're all like mega self-explanatory, like don't turn it on and put your finger in it and stuff like that. And I thought she said, make sure that the blades are sitting on the surface of the soup when you turn it on. And I was like, surely, I thought this to myself, I was like, surely that would mean that it would go everywhere. So I'm stood there with this blender, this hand liquidizer, sorry. And I'm like, I mean, I should put it all the way under. But she said, and that's what I thought she said, to make sure that it was on the surface when you turn it on, and then go in. But what she said was make sure it's all the way in and then turn it on. Make sure it's not. She worded it in a funny way, so she said blades on the surface. She shouldn't have said that. She should have just said, you know, put the liquidizer all the way into the soup until it's at the bottom of the pan. That way you've got bottom of the pan on your mind rather than like surface of the soup. And I'm a young kid at this age, okay? A young guy, don't know how to cook. And I'm like, well, you know what? She's the expert, okay? So if she says stick it on the surface of the soup and turn it on, she must know what she's talking about. So I'm, you know, doubting my own sort of fucking, I don't know, experience of physics in my entire 15 years of existence up until this point. So I stick them on the surface, turn it on, and obviously burning hot soup goes all over my hand and arm. And I'm like, oh, you fucker, drop the liquidizer. It doesn't quite fall into the soup. It kind of falls like half in the soup, half out of the soup, so it sprays everywhere else, and then it falls off out of the pan, out the pot or whatever I was cooking into, onto the sort of already on hob, which was like turning it almost on fire, setting it on fire on the cable and stuff, and you've got like an electric fire with gas. She came over, she was losing her shit, and she was like, you will never cook again. And I was like, okay. And for the rest of home ec, you know what, I can't even remember what I did for the rest of home ec. I remember she told me to stir custard once. I've got like two memories. That was one memory, and then the other memory was stirring custard. And that's all I can remember of home ec. Well, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that story. Here is the next song. I can't word that in any other way. Here's the song after this episode. Hope you thoroughly have a good time listening to it. Yeah, surprise!